it's Renee Mills, co-founder of Zumi Pets, and today for Zumi Talk, I am here with Mr. Beasley Butters. He's a good boy. Beasley is one of three dogs that we have. He was the inspiration for our Beasley Butter line, and he has a special story about how he fell into our lap. Beasley is 2. His birthday is in October. We celebrated on Halloween, so he'll be 3 the end of this year. And he has cerebellar hypoplasia. So he was born with cerebellar hypoplasia. He was one of 3 in the litter, and he was the only one to survive. He was bred by one of our friends, and at 11 weeks old, we got a call saying, "Hey, do you want a puppy?" I was a little surprised. We already have 2 dogs. That's typically the amount of dogs that I usually have is 2. But he was so adorable, and my friend just knew exactly how to get us, especially my husband. It was my husband's turn to pick a dog, and so I said, "Of course, I'll take a puppy," and she sent the cutest picture of Beasley Butters in an orange tie, which is my husband's favorite color, and that was it. He said, "Bring him over," and then we have 3 dogs. So a little bit about cerebellar hypoplasia. For those of you that aren't sure what it is, it's where the cerebellum in his brain did not form correctly. So that affects him in a few different ways. So it affects his coordination, his gait, his muscle mass is not and has not, filled out and grown like that of a normal dog. When you watch him walk, we call it the Beasley strut. His proprioception, or his awareness of where his feet are in space, is not normal, and for him it's kind of diagonal, the ones that are a little worse than others. What was it? His left hind, yeah, and his right front are most affected for him. So occasionally, if he's really tired, or when we first got him, he would be knuckled over quite a bit. Actually, when he was 11 weeks old, the breeder thought that he was a swimmer syndrome puppy, because he would just splay out his front legs, and as you can see, he's still a little splayed on this side right now, and he couldn't stand. He couldn't stand on his own. So we started with a lot of strengthening and positioning work. The reason our friend called in and asked if we had wanted a puppy is because she knew that he was going to need to go in the home of a rehab expert, someone who could work with him at a young age and try to give him the best physical outcome that he could for having the disease that he has. So we worked really hard, didn't we? Yeah. Since he was 11 weeks old, and we was able to do some cavalettes, so walking over poles. I did a lot of peanut and balanced disc work with him for strengthening. We did a lot of kind of placement foot reminders for him. And I actually decided to try something new with Beasley, and I started using a verbal cue. So we use the word foot when he's knuckled under, and I tap the foot, and we've done that ever since we've had him, and kind of cues in along with a verbal command like sit or down, which are very hard for him actually to do. But foot is his cue to kind of try to fix his foot, and most of the time it works really well. And so for those of you who may have a young dog with cerebellar hypoplasia, trying to use verbal cues as in teaching as you would any other command may be helpful. It worked with Beasley, so it's something, if I have another dog that has cerebellar hypoplasia in the future, that I'll continue to use. But he definitely has still some physical disabilities. But he's got a moderate case, I would say, of cerebellar hypoplasia. So some of the videos of dogs that you see running and they're just constantly shaking and can't stand, he doesn't really have that. I would get him up right now, but it's all I could do to get him in this video, even though he seemed so excited before we started. But slippery floors are hard for him, and of course I have hardwood floors, so we have a lot of throw rugs everywhere. Lying down is really hard for him. His legs tend to splay, and I don't want him to injure his shoulders, and so he usually knows to, if mommy's home, that when he goes to lie down, he'll lie down near me. Yes, you lay down near mama's. You mama's boy. Yeah. And I'll help him with his right front leg and kind of slide it into position so we're not putting tension on his shoulders. But Beasley, having cerebellar hypoplasia, he can't run and play with our other dogs normal. He's very fast actually. When he gets going, it's a little sideways. He makes a lot of left-hand turns. as you see now, he's laying down on his right side. He will not lay on his left side. He actually refuses to lay on his left side. I don't know if it's something, if it kind of throws his equilibrium off, or makes him a little dizzy or whatever it is. And so, you know, I do practice with him laying on his left side. You know, the challenge of having a dog that only lays on one side, whether it's an older dog or a 2-year-old dog, is that you can get sore spots on their joint areas, over their hip, over their hind legs, their knees. And so that's something I'm constantly battling. And at a young age, he looked like, you know, he's got some old man kind of scar tissue built up over those areas, even though I've patted it as well as I can. We don't crate him. He stays in a room, so he has more area and a softer cushion to lay on during the day if we're not home. But those are things to think about if you have a dog with cerebellar hypoplasia. It's, you know, kind of always down on one side. You want to make sure that you're really patting that area. For him to get him to lay on his left-hand side, I have to physically help him do it. And then I have to swaddle and lay on him because he panics. And so when he panics, if I don't already have a Zumi suit and I've decided, oh, you know what, we're going to do some left side down time right now, then I have to kind of just lay on him and stay with him. And, you know, we'll lay there for a while. And yeah, and it's not your favorite, is it? No, it's not your favorite. But it has to be done, you know. I'm worried about those areas. And so that's something that's constantly in our mind. And, you know, I'm actually in the middle of designing, you know, some compression leg wear with padding to cover that. So that'll be the next thing to come in the next few months. Hopefully we'll get that out in production, and then I can start using those officially with him. But cerebellar hypoplasia is something that can affect dogs at all kinds of different levels. We got a diagnosis by seeing a neurologist, one that I highly value his opinion. His name was Dr. Steve Steinberg, and he worked at VCA Veterinary Referral in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And that's where I spent most of my time, pretty much all my time, as a rehab practitioner. He was my mentor. He's now retired, unfortunately, but we snuck in right at the wire right before he retired to have him take a look at Beasley. I had a really good idea based on his reflexes and things that I could assess on my own what he had before I went to that appointment. I knew he wasn't a swimmer's puppy because his reflexes were just off in the hind as well. And so once we got that official diagnosis, you know, there was some concern about obedience training and potty training, I guess, with dogs with cerebellar hypoplasia, that they won't be able to comprehend and kind of do those things. But we didn't have any problem with it. You know, he potty trained like any other pup. He's a really good boy. And so, you know, other than the physical aspects of things, we elevate his food bowls. We make sure that he's always on traction when he's eating, so his feet don't slip out. Yes, yeah. We work with strengthening exercises, and he's come a long way. You know, he can run and play with our dogs now, which was always a concern. You know, they really don't care that he runs sideways. None of us really care. He doesn't know anything's wrong or different. This is normal for him. You know, and actually one of the exercises we did, kind of talking about running sideways, I actually lunged him like a horse to the right, and working on making sure that his back didn't get a curvature, which was something that I was concerned about early on, and I'm still concerned about, so we still do it. That I actually put him on a long, like 6-foot lead, and when we go out in the yard and we work on just solely right turns. And so that way I'm kind of stretching his back out. He's not a big snuggler. He's not one that really likes to, you know, have your hands on, but I do a lot of stretching with him. Like I said earlier in the video, his muscle development isn't super normal. Hey, wait a minute. I'm almost done. I got to finish telling your story. So we continue to work on that, and I can isolate, you know, his workouts to work on his biceps area. He was determined to get up first. So, oh. So this is Mr. Beasley, my cerebellar hypoplasia pup. You can see some of the sores I was talking about there. This actually look a little bit better, and we do use Beasley butter on them. Are you leaving me? Are you leaving, everybody? Are you gonna say goodbye? Talk about it. Say goodbye. All right, he says he needs his break now. But it's really easy to, with a moderate cerebellar hypoplasia that he has, there are lots of things that can be done. Working with a rehab professional is really going to be key early on to get the right structured exercise for balance and coordination that fit your pup's needs and current condition and how much they're affected. Things like soft padding, traction flooring, elevated food bowls, and for some dogs that are really severely affected that you may have or may have rescued to try to give them a better life, wheelchairs, carts, quad carts for dogs, really kind of giving them a little bit of stability and being able to go out and have some freedom without falling over. There's a great company called Handicap Pets or walkinpets.com that has adjustable wheelchairs that can help with some of those things as well. So thanks for tuning in and meeting Beasley Butters and hearing a little bit about his story. I'm sure he will be in future videos. I'll show you some of the workouts that we actually do with him to give you some specific kind of exercises that I like to use with him and what have worked in the past. And moving forward, if you guys have any questions about cerebellar hypoplasia and Beasley, I will do my best to answer them. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm a canine rehab practitioner and veterinary technician with lots of years of experience with working with dogs with special needs. And so that's why Beasley fell right into my lap and has been a perfect fit for our household. And he's been able to thrive with his condition. We just have to make a few adjustments. And there we go. So like, subscribe, share this video. Let all your other friends know about us and Zumi Talk. And of course, comment with any ideas for future videos. See you guys next time.